Isn't it hard to be with irresponsible people all the time and mothering and taking care of them? Isn't it great to have those who are self-disciplined too? It's less headaches, isn't it? Someone who is positive. That's K and L, considerate. Now there's others, but one of the things that I'm sharing here is that it's great to have our must-haves and can't-stands in our relationships with people. How do I know when my boundaries are violated if I've never established any boundaries? What are my must-haves and can't-stands? These are some of mine. The list that I put here. Oh, and yeah, I put it, it's very important to me, sense of humor. And someone who loves music and nature.
Could you just go through those?
Or I'll die.
Could you go through those?
Okay. Someone patient, loving, communicates, sense of humor. The middle column is complete. The right column, loyal, self-disciplined, positive, and considerate. Those are just some, but those are important. I need someone who's considerate towards me. I want a relationship where I'm not an audience of one where all they do is talk about themselves. Right? So considerate is someone who, hey, I want to hear from you. How are you today? Right? So just a little story. I was new in my own personal growth. I was over here in Albany, and I was at a coffee shop, and there was a clock behind the guy I was with, and it went a whole half hour, and all he did was talk about himself. This was when I was younger. And I stopped the guy, and I said, you know what? For the past half hour, you've been talking. So for the next half hour, I'm going to talk. And I did. I was talking 7 minutes, and he stopped me, and he said, oh, that was so good. Now I learned what to do when other people do that to me. Thank you for doing that. Now I only wait 3 to 4 minutes. I don't wait 30 minutes. I have a need for reciprocity and balance, mutuality. You see that? All negative feelings, and you can write on the back of your sheet, all negative feelings are a result of an unmet need. I'm irritated. You wouldn't know it, but I have to enunciate very properly, correctly, because I have a speech impediment since I was a child. I was changed from left-handed to right-handed at 10, and it caused a speech impediment. And I have to say everything carefully. And so when I'm with people, I get tired if I have to talk quickly. And so people interrupt me. How considerate is that? So I learned to say, this is nonviolent communication. I'm going to give an example. O is observation. So you might want to make a note that this is how we do it when we're correcting a person. I notice that whenever I'm talking, what am I observing? Observing without judgment. I say, I notice that when we're talking, that I'm unable to complete my sentences. I didn't say, you're a jerk. You're rude. I feel you're rude.
You want to say that.
But instead, observation without judgment. I notice that whenever I'm talking, I'm unable to finish my sentences. That's observation without judgment. Krishnamurti said, observation without judgment is the highest form of wisdom.
Are you saying by that the other person would jump in and finish your sentence for you?
Yeah, they don't let me finish because I have a speech impediment and I have to talk slowly. I get very tired. All right. Yes, sir.
Does that apply when you use speaking a foreign language too?
Yeah. I had aphasia, brain damage. Okay, I had to go to speech therapist for years. So anyway, so the F is, my feelings. This is called Offner. So the next part is I say, and I really feel frustrated. Here's the other ABC, other words, irritated, concerned, uncomfortable. All right. When you interrupt me, now the N, because I have a need for balance. Just as I allow you to speak, I need you to equally allow me to talk as well without interrupting me. Let's give a hand for that. Let's give a hand. Isn't that good? We have to have dignity for ourselves. If we don't, we're not going to get it from others. We're the only person on earth that can make our welfare our #1 priority. If we don't take care of ourselves, others won't. Now, was I belligerent? I can say, as I said earlier, we can say our no as gently as our yes.
So that's called Offner, right?
Offner.
O-F-N-R.
Observation, feeling, need, and then the R is the request. would it be possible for, and don't say can you, because can you is really telling, can't you, they're gonna take it that you're ragging on them. Instead, you say,
What is the need or is it-
no, thank you. That, would it be possible for you to let me complete my sentences before you answer? That's how you do it without attacking or being rude. Yes, sir.
I've got one friend
Yeah.
that stops me all the time.
Yes.
Because my mind runs very fast and her mind
Uh-huh.
is singular,
Yes.
pointed.
Yes.
So if she's not going fast enough.
Yeah.
And I start to interrupt, she says,
Right.
excuse me, excuse me, excuse
Right.
me. Can I finish saying what I need to say
Yes.
first?
Yeah.
So she's the only person that I know that will do that, but
Uh-huh.
at least she protects herself enough
Right.
to be able to say that.
Right. And some people might take offense.
Yeah.
So I have here, we want to be, as Gandhi said, the change that we want to see in the world. That's one of your blanks in there. And
Where's that?
under summary, on the first
You
page,
want to be as.
as Gandhi said,
Oh.
the change,
Be as.
as Gandhi said,
Oh.
G-A-N-D-H.
the change we want to see in the world.
Okay.
And let it begin with me, right?
Yeah.
And compassion begins with us. Instead of saying, you know what, doggone it, I'm really tired when you just talk over me all the time. Where's the compassion there? I'm overcoming aggression with compassion and spirituality. I'm overcoming it by not taking it personally. In the passage that I read in page 277, thank you, that I read in 277, that compassion is being that person that we would like someone to be towards us, and being that person towards others. Remember, compassion is realizing that the other person is emotionally intoxicated or emotionally fevered. I have 3 sons. I would have never disciplined my sons for having a fever. All right, so what hinders us from having compassion? What do you think? What do you think hinders us from having compassion?
A lack of understanding?
Uh-huh. A lack of understanding, okay. Any other answers? There's no just one right answer. What else hinders us from having
I think
compassion?
sometimes time.
Ah, we're under pressure. Is that what I'm hearing? Yeah.
That's true.
You don't have the time to listen carefully.
Yeah.
And respond in the correct way.
And that's where exactly what you just said, learning how to respond and not react. To take that time. I was a pastor. I had a church. And after church, people would walk by. I wouldn't stand at the back of the church. I'd be up in front. And if they had questions, they would come and ask me, and we could talk about things. Or at a wedding, and I did a wedding or some other ceremony, you know how they shake hands and they go on to the next person? No. With each person, even in the 10 to 15 seconds, hey, thank you. It was great seeing your smile. Even in 10 to 12 seconds, I can connect with a person and looking over the shoulder to the next person. So even when I'm short on time, I can learn to slow down and be with that person, even if it's 10 to 15 seconds. The greatest gift we can give a person is our lives, isn't it? And when I'm giving time to a person, what am I doing? I'm giving them my life. And what is that? When I listen. When I respond instead of react. Oh, great. Blessings.
Thank you.
So it's hard forgetting the harm I have there that another has done. And one of the things that hinders compassion is forgiveness. It's hard to have compassion when we're bitter towards others, isn't it? Isn't it? It's hard to have that. And as I shared with Daryl earlier,
Yeah.
that forgiveness is not forgetting. It's letting go of the hurt.
Is letting go
Of the hurt. We're to learn our lesson. I'm going to, a little half-minute theology. Some people will say God forgives and forgets, but we're not God. God doesn't have to learn anything. We do. When someone has slapped me, metaphorically or otherwise, I'm going to learn that lesson instead of allowing them to still mistreat me. I'm letting go of the hurt, but I've learned that that person may not be safe in that area. I still need to protect myself. Yes?
What if two people have two different needs about the same issue, opposite needs?
Very good.
Are you going to be talking about that?
Yes, I will,
Okay.
right now. I'm going to go into that.
Okay.
My timer is letting me know that I have to move through here a little bit. So, we misunderstand what it is, that forgiveness is not forgetting, it's letting go of the hurt. We don't forgive others for their sake. We forgive others for our sake.
Yep.
And when we make amends with people, we do it for our sake, not theirs, regardless of how they respond. So that we can look in the mirror and know that we've done what we can to make things right. Right?
Unless they have a need opposite weekend.
And this frees us from the corrosive toxicity of bitterness. I grew up with abuse, and that's why I help people who have trauma.
You grew up with what?
I grew up with abuse,
Oh.
and I help people who suffer trauma. And I grew up with it. But I chose, I didn't see my dad for many years. And I didn't know when I would see him again. But I chose as a young man that the next time that I saw him, I would tell him that I loved him, even though he mistreated me. And I didn't realize that I freed myself from the corrosive toxicity of bitterness that could have eaten at me and made me a bitter person. And that by choosing to say that whenever I see my father, it would be 8 years, that I was actually freeing myself from a bitter spirit.
On the movie Buck backside of it.
Okay, well, thank you. So, on we go. So, misunderstanding it. Compassion. How do we think we misunderstand compassion? Any idea?
Honesty. Sometimes we mistake honesty for compassion.
Aha, yes. And or we give sympathy. And you know, pardon me? Pity. And you know what? People don't want sympathy. Someone has just lost a brother. Someone has just lost a dear one. Well, yeah, I can understand how that is because I've had loss in my life. Who you're focusing on? You're bringing it back on you. Instead, gosh, I don't have words for that. Is there any way that I can be a support for you? I'm at a loss. If there's anything I can do. I'm not good at cooking, but I'm going to make a lasagna for you. And I'll help mow your lawn while you're just handling other issues in your life. I'm giving up my life in a practical way than just words.
Pity's deep. What pity's deep, it's like you can scar people with pity. That's a very deep point.
Yes. And we mistake pity for love. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? Can you? I would love it if.
Well, I don't know. I think that that's sort of on the continuum of maturity, that's sort of, at least I relate to, first having pity, learning as a child, eat all your food because of the poor people that
Yes.
don't have any food. It was sort of a shaming me into it for pity that somebody doesn't have something I have, but it needed to mature into something else, to really be something that gave action with full intention rather than being out of shame.
Very good. Thank you. Did you want to say anything? Okay. All right. So what I have here is that we mistake codependency for compassion. Oh, I let a person walk over me. I let them take advantage of me. I allow them to, use me. I don't have boundaries with them. And I'm being compassionate with you. No, I'm not. I'm going to give you a definition of codependency. One sentence. There's a lot, I can tell you about it. But one sentence. Codependency is surrendering our values and our opinions because we fear the rejection or the anger of another. I'll say it again. Codependency is where we surrender our values and our opinions because we fear the rejection or anger of another. So we surrender things that we really hold to, but we don't say anything because we're afraid they're going to be mad at us or they're going to reject us. They're going to give us a cold shoulder or they're going to treat us as unlovable. We become unloved to them if we dared to differ